So now that you've seen several examples of how to build macros in different types of scenarios, it's time to apply that knowledge yourself. In this exercise challenge, you're going to be using Troy Hunt's online application that's called Hack Yourself First. Now, what I would like for you to do is to please take your time as you build your very first macro. Pause the video, go back, look at the other examples that we've already gone through. I want you to feel confident when you write your very first macro. Now, the macro you're going to be building is going to follow very closely on the first demo that I showed you. You're going to detect that a session is invalid or run your macro straight away. You're going to capture a post as well as the following get. You're going to identify the particular steps that you want recorded in your macro, and then you should go ahead and use Repeater to test that macro out and make sure that it works properly. So before you view this demo, which is the exercise answer key, make sure that you've given this a try yourself. In this demo, of course, I'll show you how to build the macro for the given scenario. This is the solution video to the challenge that you were given to try to write your own macro. Now we're using the Hack Yourself First website by Troy Hunt. So after you register a user, go ahead and log in. And I've successfully logged in. Let's go ahead and go to the Proxy HTTP History tab. You'll notice that there's a 302 here, followed by a GET after the redirect. Those are very good candidates for creating my macro. But first, let's go ahead and create a situation where I invalidate my session. So I'm going to send this GET over to the repeater. Just verify that I'm still logged in and everything is good. And yes, it says hello Jay, so I know that everything is still valid. Now what I'm going to do is go to this parameters tab and let's just delete all these cookies. And once again, we're simulating a situation where Spider or Scanner may come across some sort of exception or error or accidentally log you out, and so you want to have a macro that will log you back in. Let's now click go and see what we get. And you can see that now we're prompted to log in. So let's go ahead and create our macro. We'll go to Project Options and Sessions. We're going to create a new session handling rule. We'll call this rule Log Me In, Hack Yourself First. I'm going to just run a macro directly. And I'm going to create a new macro. Now what I'm going to use will be these two steps, because if I look at them, this step logged me in and this step is after the redirect to get me back to the dashboard. So these are the two steps I want. Let's look at our configure items for the post. Yes, for the email I want that. For the password I want this value, so that looks good. Everything for the get should be fine as is. Let's test our macro. And we do receive a cookie. So I have high confidence that this shows me logged in. Yes, hello Jay. Let's give this a name. Okay, I don't need to specify any particular parameters. Everything is configured already. Now let's look at the scope. I want to just set repeater for now. Obviously, once you set this up and you know that it works properly, then you can go ahead and set it for intruder or spider or scanner, according to whatever it is that you're doing. I'm actually going to include all URLs because I noticed that his site runs over HTTP and HTTPS. So I'm going to set that there. And I'm also going to open my sessions tracer just so that I can debug everything. So let's go back to repeater, and now when I click go I should see that I'm logged in. And I do. It says hello Jay, and if you'll notice, all of those cookies came back to me. If I look in the tracer, I can see that my macro did indeed get run, and it updated some cookies and basically placed me back into a valid session. Hopefully you were able to do this challenge with a high degree of confidence after seeing all of the other examples of the different macros that can be created inside of Burp Suite. So in this module, we learned a lot about macros. We saw several different scenarios on how to build macros. You were also given an exercise challenge to apply that knowledge yourself. In the next section, we will go into depth on looking at plugins and coding them in different languages. Let's start coding some plugins.